Hi, I'm an artist and animator, and today we'll be talking about things I wish I knew before starting to draw digitally. This is a continuation of my previous video, but instead I'll be covering digital art. This video is for beginner and maybe intermediate. Number 1, screen or no screen? To be honest, I recommend getting no screen for starters. Not only is cheaper, but it also helps a lot with your posture, primarily because you're looking straight into your PC or monitor, and you don't have to crouch down while you draw. I understand why people don't like them or just can't get the hang of it, but trust me, it will help you in the long run. To get over the, I can't see what I'm drawing, just don't look at your drawing tablet. Completely ignore it. It's a ghost. It doesn't exist. I also just recommend just practicing by using it as a regular mouse. Just like move it around your browser or whatever. Plus, it's very convenient if you're planning to use your drawing tablet everywhere you go. It's only just one cable that you need to connect it with. As for what brands, I only use Wacom, and Wacom has never disappointed me until the AI ad came around. Anyways, I still recommend Wacom, but it would be best if you just bought it as secondhand since we don't want to support them because of what just happened. But to be honest, you can get whatever drawing tablet you want. I heard that X-Pen is pretty good, but I have never tried it, so I can't really say much. Just don't get a drawing tablet that you need to charge your pen for whatever reason. So, when should I get my screen tablet then? Definitely when you need an upgrade and have passed that beginner state, or you have taken art pretty seriously. I drew with my first drawing tablet ever for like almost a decade. I had it since 2012 and I had to upgrade on 2020 simply because my drawing tablet was too old for my computer and it worked just fine. It's just that Wacom decided to just discontinue their drivers, which is really shitty to be honest. I upgraded to a Cintiq 16 and at the time it was the cheapest screen tablet that Wacom had. Once you do get your Cintiq, please get a screen protector, like immediately once you get it. Exactly how you would do it on a new phone or a new iPad. I made the mistake of not putting one, and somehow I already got a scratch. You can barely see it, but I hate it! Anyways, just get a screen protector so you don't scratch your drawing tablet, cause that's the worst. My recommendation in tablets. So for no screen, get Intuos Pro. Why? Because that's all you need. Customizable buttons, a perfect pen that has an eraser on the back, and it's a decent size. Don't get any other Intuos because they're very small and very limiting. If you want to get a screen tablet, the cheapest is Wacom One. I have this tablet, it's great. It has a great size, it's portable, it's pretty light, you don't need to plug it into the wall. The only con I have is that it doesn't have an eraser, it only has one customizable button in the pen, and there's so many cables. By the way, both have kind of the same price, so it's really up to you which one you would prefer. But as a beginner, please get the simple drawing tablet with no screen. Number 2, get a controller. This is a lifesaver sent from God. I cannot live without it. It's one of the best purchases I've ever made. Introducing Toolbox. Not sponsored, but I wish. This is an art controller that you use to speed up your process. It has customizable buttons and it makes your life 100% easier. Honestly, I would only get this if you have a screen tablet since you're pretty away from your PC. At least for me. I don't have a wireless keyboard. Even if I did, I hate doing commands. It hurts my hand every time I do it. You know what is better? This controller, because like I said, it has customizable buttons, so you just do a command in one click. Isn't that amazing? It is a bit pricey, but 100% worth it. Trust me, I feel so slow without it. I recommend, especially if you have a drawing tablet that doesn't have any buttons on the side. Both of my drawing tablets don't, so I have to survive with this toolbox. Okay, I'm gonna show you guys how I use my controller. This one's to undo, redo. This one is to zoom in, rotate the canvas. This one is to increase the brush. This one is to change the brushes. This one is eraser, obviously. I have transformation here. I also have merge here because I merge layers a lot to clear the whole layer. I have one to make a new layer, and I have clipping. Those are the ones I have for Clip Studio. I also set it up for animate, so I can show you guys real quick. So it's kind of similar as the other one, but a little bit different. For example, this one is to see each frame individually. This one kind of does the same thing, but it goes a bit smoother. This one is to zoom in. These ones are different. I have lasso tool here, and I have transformation tool here. This one is to move the canvas. This one is to color pick. This one is bucket tool. The only one I don't have a shortcut is this one. I would love to put it as increase the brush and decrease it, but I haven't found the command to do that, so I can't really put it in here, and I'm not sure what to put in here anyway. So I customize both of these personally. You could like download from the program you have, but I feel like it's better if you customize it yourself. All you have to do is like type in the program that you use, search up that command, and then just plug it in into each button that you're gonna use. Yeah, so this is the one I have, which is really cool. Like just click here, search up the command, and yeah, I have it for Clip Studio Paint and Animate. I also have it for Illustrator, but I don't use it that much. I could share both of my shortcuts for Animate and Clip Studio Paint. I just don't know how to do it, but yeah. Hopefully this convinced you. It's a great investment, so definitely buy it if you can. But if you can't, skill issue, my friend. Learn how to do the commands in your art program then. Canvas sizes and DPI. Whenever you're drawing digitally, obviously, you just open a new canvas. There you go, and it should pop up like this. We're talking pixels here because it's the easiest and universal for everybody. Always stick to thousands. So 2000 and 4000 are a good combo for me, which is the format of A4. And then 350 DPI, which is resolution. The minimum you should do is 72. You need to make something smaller, export it as 72, okay? Always stick to drawing 250. And yeah, that should be it when you start drawing whatever piece of artwork you want to do. Now, the next thing we want to talk about is exporting. I finished this drawing, right? So, I want to export it, right? Go to export, never as save as. Go to export and do PNG. Stick to PNG, okay? Never do JPEG or the others, guys. JPEG, if it's like you need to lower the resolution or size of your canvas because it's, you know, too heavy. You can do Photoshop document if you need to do like a collab or share a file with somebody, or if you want to switch up your process into Photoshop. Number 4, working with layers. This is pretty obvious, but most artists work with layers like this. First the sketch, second the lineart, and then coloring. If you need to add any layers, just make more layers, but have them all separated. But the issue I see the most is people making too many unnecessary layers. I see people working with 50 plus layers when it's not even needed. So I will teach you how to use layers properly. I have it set it up as line art, base, flat colors, and then the rendering or shadows. Usually, once I'm like done with this, I just merge it and make a new layer and continue doing little extra stuff, separate it, and then merge them again. And if I don't like something, I can still make a new layer, clip it, and restart it. But always merge it if you're completely satisfied with your drawing. It's a really good way to keep layers to a minimum instead of having like 50 plus, because the main issue why people have 50 plus layers is because they don't merge those little like new things that they did into the drawing. So that's why they have so many layers, because they're very indecisive, and that's okay. Sometimes that's really good to do for live 2D and stuff like that. But when you're doing an illustration and you're not planning to animate it and stuff, I don't really see a purpose in why having so many layers. Like, sure, if you're able to manage that, hell, go ahead, but I think most people that have those many layers just keep getting confused and lost. So I really recommend having it a really small count. I can show you guys real quick how my drawings look after I finish them and how many layers I have. Let's see. So I in total used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's look at it. So we have really rough sketch. We have the cleanup sketch, the line art, the coloring. It's all merged up because I'm already satisfied with everything. There's no changes. But if I want to make any changes, I can just make a new layer and edit it. But so far, I think it's good. I have another layer to do little extra stuff. Sometimes I don't want them to be, and you can just untoggle it and export it like that. And then honestly, the rest are just little effects for the background. That's the only thing that adds up. And obviously you don't need to have this many layers, but at least not 50 plus. So, and yeah, that should be it. Number 5, flip your canvas and also use the lasso tool and transform tool. This is very common advice, but extremely useful one. For starters, flipping your canvas can be very beneficial for your artwork. Not only looks good in both sizes, but it's easier to draw certain things in a different angle. Most artists already use the lasso tool and transformation tool, but those who don't know, it's a really basic tool. It helps you rearrange stuff in your artwork as well as putting them in a different angle or moving them in a different spot. There's a new trick that professional artists are using, which is rendering with the lasso tool to create this amazing effect. If you want to learn about that trick, I recommend watching this video. Okay guys, I'm gonna show you how I color. So this trick works universally in every single program. First, you make a new layer, then grab your magic wand. Make sure your expand is up to 2, aka area scaling. You select the outside, click on plus, then you select this stuff that you don't want it to be included. Then you click on inverse, then you pick a gray color, bucket tool it, deselect it, and boom. It does a really good job. Also works with any brush. I can show you guys real quick. So magic wand, click outside, inverse, select color, bucket tool it, deselect it, and boom. Now, if you have Clip Studio Paint, there's a way easier way into doing this, which is getting these brushes. Thankfully, these brushes are for free and they're really useful. First thing you gotta do is select it as a reference layer, pick the color, and then just select the character. Just like the magic wand, but here it selected this, but that's okay. There's this brush that can help you clean it up for you. When you actually start coloring, you make a new layer obviously and clip it. Clipping is basically whatever you draw on that layer, it's gonna be stuck into this, so it keeps things very tidy. Alpha Lock also does the same thing, but I recommend using clipping because it's way easier and less confusing as the other one. Since we have this amazing advantage, we can just do the same for the flat colors. So I'm gonna do the skin and hair. You just select it like this. Doesn't have to be perfect because we can later clean it up, and cleaning it up takes very little time. Just make sure you select it very well because sometimes there's something like this, but it's not much of an issue. You can just manually do it. This trick shows a really easy way to avoid having those white spaces, and I really recommend giving it a zoom in. Make sure those white spots are not there because they're incredibly unprofessional in my opinion, because whenever you're gonna zoom in, you're able to see those mistakes, and I just think it's really ugly when people do that. I just find it very unprofessional, so I like to keep things very tidy and have no errors like that. Then you make a new layer and then clip it again, and then finally you can start doing your shadows or rendering into the character. And yeah, that's basically it. Okay, I'm gonna show you guys that this trick works in every single program. So we have Medibank Pro and we have our little bunny here, and we're gonna try to color it. So like I said, make a new layer underneath and grab your magic wand. Make sure the expand is up to 3, but increase it and decrease it depending on the liner you're using. So for example, for this thick line art, I use expand 3. Once you're done with that, you go select, inverse, and it selects the character. I'm gonna choose my color to color the base, like that, and then go deselect, and I have this darker layer to double check if everything looks good, and oh my god, it does a really good job, just like we did in Clip Studio Paint. So to finally color this character, you just go clipping, select the color that you want for the character, and just start coloring. You could use the bucket tool, and the bucket tool is pretty good, but you do have to do the right settings, just like we did with the magic wand. So we're gonna do the same trick, and obviously the bucket tool is way faster because you don't have to do so many steps. For this one is expand 3. If your line art is pretty loose, you have to toggle close gaps and have it as high or medium depending on how big the gap is. But for example, this narrow parts, it's really hard. Yeah, like here. So I just recommend just straight up using the magic wand because you don't have to spend so much time, you know, checking on this. And I feel like you should use the bucket tool if you're doing flat colors. So like for example, if you're doing things by sections, so let's say her face is pink and the body is completely different color, then you would use the bucket tool. But you do have to make sure you zoom in into your artwork and make sure there's no shitty gaps like this, because if you leave those gaps like that, it's just gonna look really professional. Use the outline brush. So we're gonna be using a brush that has like an outline. It is also called Edge Pen if you're a Medibang user. There's already a built-in feature to have the outline brush. So first you click here, then here, and then boom, you already have your outline brush. You can even change the thickness of it, which is really cool. I primarily use this to make things that are a bit hard to draw. So for example, I use this to make the outline of the hair. Sometimes it's a bit difficult, but I primarily use it for accessories and little things. So for example, I'm gonna show you how to do the accessories of this character. Sometimes I use this one, but the colors can be a bit off, so I'd rather use like a custom brush of the outline. I'm pretty sure you can find a tutorial on how to get the custom brush in whatever program you have, or go to the asset store and find the outline. You start first with picking out the darkest color and then picking up the brightest color like this, and set the thickness of how you want it to be. So like this or this, things like that is pretty good. And then you just start drawing it. It could be a bit hard using the outline brush because you have to do everything in one stroke. So yeah, like this one is good. Now we're gonna do the next accessory, which is the little star. So you go here, pick out the darkest color, choose here, and pick out the brightest color like this. And you have to be really mindful on how you draw it. For example, for this star accessory, you need to first do the triangle and then the star. So the star is underneath. If you do the star first and then the triangle, this is gonna be on top and it's gonna look ugly. So you have to be really mindful about that. So triangle first and then star in one stroke, which can be a bit hard. So you have to undo multiple times until you get that right star. Now, I like to add a bit more detail into it, so grab like a regular pen and start making like a bit of shadows into it. So something like this. And it's fine, it doesn't look perfect, you can just edit it a little bit. Now I want to add the shine, like this. And you could do it with this accessory too. Yeah. Number 8. Use the color slider instead of using the color wheel. This trick was actually introduced by one of my mutuals. You probably already follow her. She made a video suggesting to use the color slider rather than the color wheel. When I first saw that video, I thought it was a really interesting take. It also gave me a flashback back when I was a beginner artist and was just using digital art for the first time. I used to use AutoSketch, and for some reason they didn't have the color wheel. I think it was because I was using Mac at the time. So instead, I used the color sliders to color, and I remember I had a great time. Anyways, I tried this method and slowly I got used to it. I can strongly confirm that the color wheel sucks and you should definitely use the slider. The main issue with the color wheel is that it's very hard to get some colors right. It takes too many attempts getting that right tone. But using the color slider makes things so much easier, way faster than the color wheel. So yeah, I recommend you trying this in your next artwork. Also, please check Seppi's video. It goes more in depth of how beneficial it is. Number 9. Tone correction is your best friend. I'm gonna show you guys how I come up with really cool colors. So, you go to Edit, Tone Correction, Hue, Saturation, and Luminosity. And here we can change the color of this character of mine and get really cool combinations that we never thought of. You could also change the saturation, make it more vibrant, or you can make it more dull. You could also make it more pastel or more darker. And what's great about this is that you could use it to change colors without manually drawing on them. So for example, I do not like this purple. So I'm gonna choose the purple right here. I'm gonna change it to a different color. So we go again, Edit, Tone Correction, Hue, Saturation, Luminosity. So let's say pink is good. I wanna make it more vibrant, more pastel maybe, more darker. Yeah, just get the color that I want. And just click OK. And boom. Another thing you could do is use color modes. So I'm gonna move myself real quick. So new layer, and on top we're gonna just choose a random color. So let's use purple, and we click on multiply. We can also clip it just to have like just the character and not confuse ourselves with the background. You can use multiply, color burn, and obviously, like for example, if this one's good, just lower the opacity to see a better look into your artwork. Overlay is like the best one, I think, to come up with colors because it gives a very nice like touch into it. Same thing with highlight, although it could be a bit too harsh, so lower the opacity for that one. The one I play the most is difference because it gives a really cool change of colors. And obviously, is this one too harsh, just lower the opacity. But yeah, you don't necessarily need to know which one does which. Just play around with it and see what you like. For example, this one is my favorite. I love playing with brightness because it gives a very nice pastel look, but also very neon-ish, which is so cool. So whenever you try this, I recommend the character or the artwork to have a bunch of colors. If it doesn't have a bunch of colors and it looks something like this, that is just red and pinks, it's not gonna look exactly the same as the other one. Like, you're not gonna get that change of colors. We're gonna try the tone correction on this one. Like, yes, it does obviously a bit of change, but it's not as drastic as the other one. It's still really nice to use it if you want like a different outlook into the artwork, like maybe fit the atmosphere of the character. It's mostly just to experiment, but still, it's nice. It's nice to play around with, I think. Same thing goes with the layer modes. So I'm gonna choose, let's say, green. It's not much of a change. It's still nice to see them though. Like for example here, like still nice, but not too much to make a really cool drawing out of it. Or maybe, I don't know, like all of these are just to experiment and see which one you like the most. Number 10, color your line art. We actually talked about this on my previous video. The technique is very different on this one. Usually when you color your line art, it's at the end of your artwork. So like after you finish coloring. In order to color your line art, you make a new layer on top of the line art and then clip it. To get the colors for the line art, what I do is color pick the color of the object and then go into a darker color. So for example, this strawberry is red, so I pick a darker red or a darker purple for the line art. Same thing goes with the leaf. And you repeat the process for everything, which can be a bit time consuming, but it gives a really nice result. The only sad thing is that there's really no shortcut into doing this, and the shortcuts that exist doesn't give the same effect as how you do it manually. So I really suggest taking your time and coloring the line art because it really gives a nice result. If you want me to go more in depth into this, I can make a separate video about it because it's very complicated. Number 11, use the symmetry tool. So, why should we be using the symmetry tool? Most of it is to have everything proportionate and obviously symmetrical. A great example into using the symmetry tool is this artist. She uses this every chance that she gets, and that's exactly how we should be using it. I do recommend not to use it too much because you become too dependent on it. Trust me, it has happened to me too much, so definitely give it a try. Number 12, make custom brushes. Depending on what art program you use, I really recommend using custom brushes, which is a DIY brush that you make in the program, or a custom brush an artist made. So when your favorite artist shares their brushes, really take advantage of that. Or if they haven't, feel to ask them. They're usually really happy to share them around. If not, just understand their decision. To find custom brushes, just search up on Google custom brush of whatever thing you're looking for. So for example, I want a custom brush of bow ties, and they usually pop up. If your art program doesn't have any custom brushes, I really recommend learning how to make custom brushes. There's usually a YouTube tutorial on how to make custom brushes, or just play with the pen settings and see what you like. If you have Clip Studio Paint and haven't checked out the asset store, oh god, you're missing out. Honestly, compared to every art program out there, I think Clip Studio's asset store is the best one out there. And I feel like more art programs should have an asset store because it's such a great community to share each other. Such amazing resources like 3D models, auto actions, and of course custom brushes, as well as color palettes and even patterns. But of course, that's only with Clip Studio Paint or whatever program that also have an asset store. Like I said before, just learn how to do custom brushes and it will be such a lifesaver in the future. And at last, number 13, stretch your hands. I cannot stress this enough. But if you want to become an artist, you need to build good art habits like stretching your hands between drawing as well as taking breaks. Crowny Prince actually made a really good video for you guys to use as a guide to stretch your hands. I actually use it every time I start drawing, but of course feel free to use whatever hand stretching routine you need to use. And yeah, I think that's all the advice I can give you guys for digital art. If you know any good advice, feel free to comment it down below. Also, I really appreciate the feedback you guys gave me on my last video. It was really nice hearing your guys' comments. You guys are really sweet. I'll gladly make more videos in the future. Just tutorials, resources, and etc.
Hey, do you guys like my new VTuber?
I'm actually planning to use her more in the future and do art streams with her. I'm currently streaming on Twitch, but I'll definitely stream on YouTube soon. I just have to figure out the setup to stream on YouTube. Okay, one last thing. I also have a Ko-Fi, which you can donate me. I would also love to do like membership stuff, but I feel like since I have a very small following everywhere, I can't really do that. But in the future, once I have way more followers and you guys are really invested into my stuff, I would love to make a sticker club. So basically, I mail you a sticker once a month. I'm not sure on the prices, but we'll talk about it later. But yeah, thank you so much for watching my video and I'll see you in the next time.